Hello, and welcome to today's discussion on a topic that's near and dear to my heart, and perhaps soon to yours: breaking free from bad habits through the timeless wisdom of Stoicism. I'm your host, Stoic Warrior, a philosopher and speaker dedicated to helping you cultivate clarity, inner strength, and tranquility in a world full of distractions and temptations. Imagine waking up one morning feeling truly in control of your life, unburdened by nagging impulses to check your phone endlessly, overeat comfort foods, or procrastinate on tasks you know are important. Imagine facing a tough day without reaching for a cigarette, a glass of wine, or that extra episode of your favorite show. What would that feel like? Today, we're going to explore exactly how Stoic principles can guide us in recognizing, confronting, and ultimately transforming the habits that hold us back from living our fullest, most deliberate lives. So settle in, perhaps with a warm cup of tea, and join me on this journey. I'll guide you through 7 core insights drawn from Stoic philosophy, each offering practical tools to break free from the grip of harmful routines. Let's begin. 1. Recognizing the chain of habit. Awareness is power. Before we can uproot any habit, we must first meet it face to face. In the words of Marcus Aurelius, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment. To revoke our automatic behaviors, we must shine the lantern of clear perception into the dark corners of our daily routine. Imagine for a moment that each habit you hold is a link in an invisible chain, one forged by repeated action and stoked by unexamined emotion. Perhaps you find yourself reaching for your phone the instant you wake, or grabbing a sugary snack whenever you feel a twinge of anxiety. These actions are not random. They are the inevitable outcome of a mental script that has been rehearsed, often without our conscious consent. When we remain unaware of this script, we become actors in its drama rather than authors of our own lives. Epictetus implored us to cultivate prososche, or continuous self-attention. First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. Prososche asks us to pause mid-habit loop and observe what thought flickers across my mind. Just before I click refresh, what sensation arises in my gut before my hand reaches for that candy bar? By surveying these precursors, we begin to discern the triggers: stress, boredom, loneliness that set our old patterns in motion. But mere observation, however mindful, is not enough. We must allow ourselves to feel, too. Seneca acknowledged that our impulses are born of emotion, telling us we suffer more in imagination than in reality. When that phantom anxiety or craving stirs, lean into it, name it aloud. This is boredom, or this is fear of missing out. Feel the tightening in your chest or the flicker of irritation in your mind. Naming these sensations deflates their power, transforming them from opaque demands into transparent signals. Consider this practical exercise. The next time you sense the tug of a habit, speak silently to yourself. Trigger: stress. Urge: seek comfort in sugar. Choice: respond deliberately. In that sacred pause, you reclaim your agency. You are no longer a slave to momentum. You become an architect of your response. This heightened awareness is more than a tactical maneuver. It is, in Stoic terms, an act of self-liberation. Marcus Aurelius conducted nightly audits of his thoughts and actions, writing in his meditations, when you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful. He used introspection to prepare his mind to see each impulse as a passing wave rather than an unshakable edict. If the Emperor of Rome found strength in this practice, how much more can it serve us in taming our modern distractions emotionally? This process can be both humbling and empowering. In the moment of honest recognition, you may feel the sting of regret. How many mornings have I mindlessly scrolled away? But that sting is the crucible of transformation. It awakens the resolve to choose differently, and when you do, you experience the quiet triumph of self-mastery, a steadying confidence that, come what may, you hold the reins of your mind. So, as you embark on this adventure of habit recognition, remember, awareness is not a passive state. It is the first courageous act in reclaiming your life. By observing with clarity, feeling with honesty, and choosing with intention, you begin to dismantle the chain link by link. forging a freedom that no external circumstance can ever take away. To understanding what's within your control. At the heart of Stoic practice lies a simple yet transformative insight. Our suffering stems not from external events themselves, but from our judgments about them. Epictetus, a former slave who became one of the greatest Stoic teachers, distilled this into the powerful dictum, "Some things are up to us and some are not up to us." When you feel the tug of a bad habit, whether it's scrolling through your phone, indulging in excess sugar, or procrastinating on an important task, ask yourself, which part of this loop do I truly control? Stoicism calls us to divide the world into two realms. The realm of what is within our power, our thoughts, intentions, and actions, and the realm beyond our control, other people's opinions, past events, the weather, and even many of our bodily sensations. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself each morning, "I will meet with interference, ingratitude, insolence, disloyalty, ill will, and selfishness, all of them due to the offender's ignorance of what is good or evil." By rehearsing this distinction, he fortified his mind against the emotional turbulence stirred by circumstances. He could not command to grapple more deeply with this idea. Consider Seneca's words, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." We imagine that one more sweet treat will cure our loneliness, or that ignoring a demanding task will somehow bring relief. But these imagined comforts are illusions, and chasing them only reinforces our bad habits. When you pause to examine your urge, momentarily suspending action, you practice the Stoic exercise of apatheia, emotional resilience. You witness the craving without feeding it, and in that witnessing, you reclaim your power emotionally. This practice can feel both unsettling and exhilarating. You may catch yourself shaking with a sudden awareness that, until now, you've ceded control over your well-being to fleeting impulses. Yet in the same instant, you experience the thrill of autonomy, the recognition that your next breath, your next decision, is entirely yours. Hold on to that feeling. Let it settle like a calm lake beneath the storm of your cravings. In practical terms, you can train this muscle of discernment with a simple mantra. When an urge arises, whisper to yourself, "This is not in my power, my response is." Then, breathe deeply and choose a small, deliberate action, perhaps standing, stretching, or sipping a glass of water. Each conscious pause reinforces your capacity to govern your inner life, regardless of the chaos unfolding around you. Remember, to that Stoics regard external events as indifference, neither good nor bad in themselves. A rainy day, a harsh critique, a surge of anxiety, none are moral wrongs. They are simply happenings. What matters is your stance toward them. Epictetus urged, "It isn't what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." In applying this to habits, realize that the environment may offer triggers: late-night TV ads, a colleague's offhand comment, a stressful email, but the decision to press play or to check your inbox lies within your jurisdiction. By cultivating a vigilant awareness of this dichotomy, you build an inner citadel that no external force can breach. Each time you choose your response over automatic reaction, you affirm your Stoic commitment to live by reason and virtue. So today, when you find yourself caught in the web of a familiar habit, pause and reflect. What part of this is truly mine to change? In that moment of clarity, you step out of the storm and into the stillness of choice, ready to act with wisdom, courage, and unwavering self-control. 3. The role of rational judgment, reframing your thoughts. At its core, Stoicism teaches that the world itself is neutral, neither friend nor foe, but our thoughts and judgments imbue events with value. Marcus Aurelius reminds us in his Meditations, "Everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth." When it comes to bad habits, it is not the habit itself, but our interpretation of it, our inner commentary, that gives it power. By reshaping that commentary, we redefine our reality. Imagine the moment you crave a sugary snack after dinner. Your mind whispers, "You've been good all day, you deserve a reward." That reward narrative feels logical, even innocent. Yet, as Seneca warns, no man is free who is not master of himself. When we indulge the mind's justifications unchecked, we surrender our freedom to a fleeting impulse. To reclaim sovereignty, we must examine the underlying narrative that supports each habit. This interrogation is the Stoic exercise of assent. Epictetus taught that impressions are immediate thoughts, are not events but invitations to judgment. When an impression arises, I need this sweet taste to feel better, we must neither accept nor reject it reflexively. Instead, we pause and ask, is this belief true? Is it necessary? Is it aligned with who I wish to be? Feel the weight of that pause. In that pregnant silence, you deny the mind's autopilot. You no longer react, you reflect. You might whisper to yourself, this impulse is just an impression, transient, not commanding. I choose whether to endorse it. In choosing not to assent, you weaken the habit's authority over you. To illustrate, let's reframe a common belief: a glass of wine will help me unwind. On the surface, it seems harmless, perhaps even reasonable. But Seneca asks us to consider deeper. Is pleasure my highest good, or is tranquility? You might discover that true unwinding arises from a calm mind, not from substances that cloud it. By testing the belief perhaps through one evening of gentle stretching or reading instead of drinking, you gather evidence that tranquility can be achieved on your terms, devoid of artificial props. Emotionally, this process can stir resistance. You may feel frustration. Why is my mind so eager to deceive me? Or doubt, can I trust myself to choose differently? Acknowledge these feelings as part of reframing. They are not signs of failure, but signals that the old narrative is losing its grip. Every flicker of discomfort is the birth pang of a new habit, the habit of conscious choice. In practical terms, cultivate a daily practice of journaling or mental rehearsal. Each morning, identify one habitual belief you wish to re-examine. Write it down: I cannot focus without caffeine, for example, and then list counterarguments rooted in lived experience. I've written reports on non-caffeinated mornings and felt clear-headed. This act of externalizing your thought process builds conviction. Finally, remember Marcus Aurelius' counsel: you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. By persistently reframing your inner dialogue, by refusing to grant unexamined beliefs the right of way, you cultivate a mind that stands firm against every passing impulse. In this firm ground, bad habits wither, and you flourish as the architect of your own well-examined life. For practicing voluntary discomfort, strengthening inner fortitude, Stoicism teaches that true freedom arises not from the absence of difficulty, but from the mastery of our responses to it. Seneca exhorts us, set aside a certain number of days, during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare, with rough dress, and live on parched beans. This practice of voluntary discomfort, or ascesis, is not masochism. Rather, it is a deliberate training of the spirit, a forging of inner steel so that when real storms hit, we stand unshaken. Imagine your comfort zone as a soft cushion. It feels pleasant and it can lull you into complacency. But cushions do not prepare you for wind and rain. Voluntary discomfort invites you to step off that cushion, even briefly, to experience slight hardship by choice: a cold shower in place of a warm one, skipping your favorite latte, or walking instead of calling a ride. Each act shrinks the comfort zone's boundary and expands your sphere of freedom. Marcus Aurelius practiced this rigor in his daily life. He reminds himself in Meditations, if you are pained by external things, it is not they that disturb you, but your judgment of them, and it is in your power to wipe out that judgment now. By exposing himself to cold winds or Spartan meals, he tested his mind's ability to stand apart from bodily comforts. So can we. If a few minutes under a cold faucet can leave you exhilarated rather than defeated, you realize that discomfort carries no intrinsic villainy. It is merely a sensation, neutral until judged. Epictetus, freed from slavery yet bound by Stoic rigor, declared, difficulty shows what men are. In voluntary discomfort, you reveal your true character. You see whether you crumble at small hardships or whether you meet them with steadiness. This practice is akin to weightlifting for the soul. Each deliberate challenge adds strength, making previously overwhelming tasks manageable. Emotionally, the first steps can sting. Standing under cold water, your breath catches, hunger pangs sharpen. You might feel a flicker of regret. Why am I doing this to myself? But lean into it. In that pinch of unease lies the teacher. Notice the quickening of your pulse, the widening of your senses, the clarity that follows. That moment of heightened aliveness is the reward, an unmistakable reminder that you are present, embodied, and alert. In practical application, begin with modest challenges. Marcus Aurelius did not hurl himself into martyrdom each dawn. He chose small austerities. Try 1 week of skipping dessert twice. You'll notice how many evenings your mind wanders to that missing sweetness, only to discover it was never the dessert, but the habit you craved. Or commit to a daily 5-minute breathing meditation in stillness rather than defaulting to background noise. Each micro-challenge is a victory, each victory a brick in the fortress of your will. Seneca warns us, it is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor. Voluntary discomfort teaches contentment, not resignation, by revealing how little we truly need. When you choose discomfort, you neutralize the fear that you lack something essential. You learn that your resources, focus, resilience, creativity are richer than any external comfort. Over time, these practices coalesce into an unshakable calm. The cold shower ceases to be a trial. It becomes a daily renewal. The skipped latte transforms into a conscious choice, rather than an involuntary concession to routine. In this way, voluntary discomfort is not an ordeal, but a gateway to inner peace. So I invite you, select one voluntary discomfort today, stand in it fully, feel its edge, and let it pass through you. Notice how your spirit responds with quiet confidence. In that confident stillness, you find a wellspring of inner fortitude, a strength that no external circumstance can ever erode. 5. The power of small steps, consistency over intensity. Stoicism teaches us that the grandest transformations in life often begin with the humblest of first steps. Seneca observed, every great journey begins when one latches one's belt. He reminds us that progress need not be dramatic, it simply must be steady. When we focus on consistency, on showing up every day, even in the smallest way, we build unshakable momentum that outlasts any fleeting burst of enthusiasm. Imagine you wish to replace your evening screen scrolling habit with a moment of reflection. The idea of abolishing 2 hours of scrolling overnight may feel impossible. Yet if you begin by pausing for just 1 minute at the end of each show, standing, breathing, and asking yourself, what did I learn today? You kindle a new pattern. Each added minute becomes a stepping stone, and after a week, those 7 minutes coalesce into a habit that feels natural rather than forced. Marcus Aurelius counsels us in his Meditations, don't aspire to be a different person, be well yourself. In other words, incremental change aligns with our true nature. We do not need drastic upheaval to become better. We need to become the better version of who we already are. By setting small, achievable targets, drinking an extra glass of water before bed, writing 2 sentences in a journal each morning, or standing up every 30 minutes to stretch, you celebrate wins that cultivate pride and reinforce your identity as someone committed to growth. Epictetus echoes this wisdom. It's not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it. We waste our potential when we wait for the perfect moment or the ideal plan. True mastery rises when we accept that a single push-up today is more meaningful than the promise of 100 tomorrow. In the same way, resisting one craving in the present moment is a seed planted for future self-control. Emotionally, small victories carry an outsized boost to our confidence. Each time you choose to pause, to breathe, to reach for water instead of sugar, you reinforce a story in your mind. I am someone who honors my commitments. That internal narrative then powers you through tougher moments. You begin to trust yourself, even when setbacks occur, and they will. You have a reservoir of proof that you are capable of change. Practically speaking, break your big goal into micro habits. If you aim to meditate daily, commit to 2 minutes each morning. If you want to write, start with 1 sentence. If you wish to walk more, step out for a single block. Track these actions in a simple habit journal or an app. No elaborate spreadsheets necessary. Watch how, over days and weeks, these micro wins accumulate into a sturdy foundation of discipline. Seneca warns against the seduction of intensity. We should give as we would receive gratefully, not out of compulsion. When we force ourselves into overwhelming routines, we risk burnout and resentment. In contrast, a gentle, deliberate practice nurtures our spirit. It feels satisfying rather than punishing. It invites curiosity rather than dread. So today, I invite you to choose one micro step toward breaking a bad habit. Perhaps it's delaying your first bite of breakfast by 5 minutes, or setting a timer for social media use. Whatever it is, honor it, celebrate it. Each step, no matter how small, is a triumph of your will and a testament to the Stoic truth that consistency, not fleeting zeal, is the architect of lasting change. 6. Cultivating the inner citadel, building a Stoic mindset. To the Stoics, the mind is an impenetrable fortress, a citadel that stands firm amid the storms of circumstance. Marcus Aurelius likened this stronghold to a rugged mountain. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. When you cultivate your inner citadel, every challenge, every craving, setback, or distraction becomes an opportunity to reinforce your walls of reason and resilience. Imagine entering your mental fortress each morning, its gates closed against the chaos of the external world. Epictetus instructs us, keep your attention focused entirely on what is truly your concern, and be clear that what belongs to others is their business and none of yours. By drawing a clear boundary between what you control, your thoughts, judgments, desires, and actions, and what you do not, other people's opinions, the weather, past events, you reinforce the walls of self-sovereignty. This process begins with continuous self-awareness. As you move through your day, visualize patrolling the ramparts of your mind. Notice sudden urges, emotional fluctuations, and intrusive thoughts as if they were visitors at your gate. You need not swing it wide open to welcome them. Instead, observe them impartially, then decide whether to grant them entrance. This deliberate inspection keeps the citadel's interior calm and orderly. Seneca speaks of the tranquility that arises from this practice. You act like mortals in all that you fear, and like immortals in all that you desire. We tremble before imagined fears, fear of judgment, loss, failure, while craving endless pleasures. Cultivating the citadel means anchoring yourself in reality, accepting that loss and praise alike are fleeting, and that your true wealth resides in virtuous character. When you meet each event with this equanimity, the fortress of your mind remains unshaken. Emotionally, this discipline fosters an abiding calm. Picture yourself as a watchful guardian. When a craving to binge watch shows late into the night arises, the sentinel within calmly notes the urge, an invitation to waste my time, and then returns to duty. Better to rest now and rise refreshed. In that moment, you feel the surge of power that comes from self-mastery, a quiet confidence that no external lure can overturn. Building the citadel also requires nourishment through daily reflection. Marcus Aurelius devoted time each evening to review his conduct. At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work as a human being. Likewise, close your day by asking, where did I uphold my principles? Where did I falter? Treat these reflections not as occasions for self-reproach, but as maps for future improvement. Each insight is another brick in your psychological fortress. Finally, fortify your citadel with the practice of gratitude. Recognize what you have: health, friends, capacity for reason, and let this acknowledgement echo within your walls. Seneca reminds us, nothing is more honorable than a grateful heart and a mind at ease. Gratitude shifts your focus from what's missing to what's present, transforming your citadel's interior from a cold bunker into a warm sanctuary of contentment. As you continue, remember, Stoicism is not about withdrawing from life, but about engaging more fully from a place of inner strength. Your citadel stands not to isolate you, but to empower you, so that when passions rage and circumstances threaten, you remain grounded in reason, buoyed by tranquility, and ever ready to act with wisdom and courage. 7. Anchoring your why, the Stoic vision of virtue. At the foundation of every lasting change lies a compelling purpose, a why that transcends momentary pleasure or fleeting discomfort. For the Stoics, this purpose was none other than the pursuit of virtue, wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance. As Marcus Aurelius reminds himself, live your life as though your every act were to become a universal law. When you anchor your efforts to break free from bad habits in the pursuit of virtue, each choice becomes an act of self-definition, drawing you closer to the person you aspire to be. Imagine standing at a crossroads, one path leading to immediate gratification, the other to long-term flourishing. Without a clear why, the siren song of quick fixes, extra sugar, procrastination. Escape through endless scrolling pulls you downward. But when your gaze is fixed on a higher vision, becoming a more present friend, a more disciplined professional, a more serene individual, you find the strength to resist. Seneca eloquently states, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." By embracing virtue as your guiding star, you transform each small resistance into a meaningful stride toward a life well lived. Epictetus taught that our highest calling is to align our actions with reason and moral purpose. First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. This two-stage process, clarifying your ideal self, then taking concrete steps, anchors you in clarity. When old patterns try to lure you back, your why becomes a lighthouse, cutting through the fog of desire and doubt, illuminating the choices that cultivate integrity and inner peace. Emotionally, anchoring to virtue provides a reservoir of motivation that outlasts the ephemeral thrill of bad habits. When you pause before that familiar impulse, reaching for another drink or another episode, you can ask, does this choice reflect the courage I wish to embody? Does it honor my commitment to temperance? In that moment, you connect not with a momentary craving, but with the enduring values that give your life coherence and meaning. Each time you choose in alignment with those values, you reinforce your identity as someone who lives deliberately rather than reactively. Practically, begin by articulating your Stoic why in writing. Perhaps you aspire to be known for your calm presence in stressful meetings or your unwavering integrity in relationships. Write a concise statement. I choose temperance to honor my commitment to physical and mental clarity, and place it where you will see it daily. When temptation strikes, let the statement surface in your mind, reminding you of the broader vision that your small acts serve. Seneca offers another powerful tool. Associate with people who are likely to improve you. Share your why with a trusted friend or mentor who embodies the virtues you admire. Their support and example will help you stay the course when your resolve wavers. Finally, keep an occasional horizon check. Like Marcus Aurelius, imagine yourself at life's end, reflecting on your journey. Ask, will I regret succumbing to momentary comforts at the expense of my principles? This practice of premeditatio malorum, envisioning your future self, sharpens your focus on what truly matters. By anchoring your why in the Stoic vision of virtue, you transform the struggle against bad habits into a noble quest for self-mastery. Each moment of resistance becomes not a burden, but a declaration of who you are. Someone committed to wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. In this steadfast pursuit, you discover a freedom more profound than any fleeting pleasure, a freedom born from living in harmony with your deepest values. We've journeyed through 7 Stoic insights: mindful awareness, the dichotomy of control, reframing judgments, voluntary discomfort, small steps, building your inner citadel, and anchoring your why. Each principle offers practical tools to identify, challenge, and transcend the habits that no longer serve you. Remember, dear listener, Stoicism isn't a rigid system, it's a living practice. Some days you'll stumble, that's part of the human condition. What matters is returning to the Stoic path with renewed commitment, humility, and compassion for yourself. So here's your call to action. Choose one Stoic practice from today's episode and apply it in the next 24 hours. Notice the difference in how you feel, how you respond. Share your experience in the comments below or on social media, and invite others to join this journey toward inner freedom. If you found value in our discussion, please give this video a like, share it with a friend who might benefit, and don't forget to subscribe for more explorations into Stoic philosophy and practical self-mastery. Thank you for listening. May you walk your path with courage, wisdom, and tranquility, and may every step bring you closer to the person you aspire to become. Until next time, stay steadfast and be well.